just, you know, map everything out in the shade because it's hot as out right now. So therefore, the more I can do in the shade, the better. So we have option, oops, oopsie daisy. I'm about to throw up. Right here is it's back in the truck yard of this facility. Large area where a lot of trucks are coming in and out, loading up to the loading docks. And so we're looking at two different options. We're looking at giving them an option for the entire area to replace all of it with either 4 to 6 inches of asphalt. We'll just have to kind of, continue scoping that. And then we're gonna give them an option for just doing a smaller area where they got a lot of heavy forklift traffic. So making sure we're getting rid of all these craters and landmines. So that way when they're driving around, they're safer, they're not dropping loads, things like that. But it's really just trying to put it on the iPad, map it out on here to make sure that when we present them the proposal that we're gonna give them as clear of an explanation of what we're proposing as possible. So that way there's no gray areas and no assumptions. So this one here is, we were walking through this property, going back up to the office, and we noticed that all this alligator cracking is just starting to get worse and worse. So what I like to try and do, some people have their own opinions of it, which I don't really care too much about, but at the end of the day, if I can help save them a little bit of money by adding this on while we're already here doing a big project in the back, it's gonna be at least an option I wanna present. Because if I don't say anything about it, we go and do all that, and we get all finished up, we leave, they're all happy with it, and like, oh, by the way, can you do more? Well, yeah, we can do more, but it's gonna cost them more money to remobilize our equipment. So some people look at it as you're trying to upsell, you're trying to push, you're trying to do this and that. I genuinely look at it that it's really just trying to figure out how we can maximize our mobilization here for this client to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their buck, and hopefully they're gonna be happy with us at the end of it.
Alrighty. I think when it comes to relationships with other contractors and clients that we work with, the number one thing is communication. Like if we can't communicate clearly, frequently, and consistently, like it just doesn't work. So to be able to have that level of communication, that level of trust, transparency, everything that comes with communication, like that's just what makes it work. Because we're a very detail-oriented company, we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward every time we do a project with somebody. And the biggest thing that all rides on is our communication with them. So that's how those types of relationships work. That's different for every area, right? It's like where we're at down here in the Carolinas, winter isn't typically as harsh, right? So you're not having as much of the freeze-thaw cycles, all the salt on the pavement, things like that, that's going to just completely deteriorate paved surfaces. However, like the biggest thing I always talk to property managers about is crack sealing. Because at the end of the day, regardless of the freeze-thaw cycle, if you don't get those cracks sealed up before wintertime and you do happen to get some freezing overnight and it rains that day, water gets into the cracks, everything freezes overnight, well, it expands. So that crack that was only, this big in the fall, you come back in the springtime and it's, 2 or 3 times as big, and now you actually have problems, you have hazards. So I always talk about crack sealing. Obviously, we talk a lot about seal coating and stuff before the winter time too, to just help protect it from the elements. If you do get a bad winter and there's a lot of salt and brine stuff put down, then at least you have a protective layer on your pavement and it's eating away at that and not your actual asphalt. Pros and cons of doing, pavement projects in the fall. Because what happens is if you try to push it to late fall, then you start fighting weather. You start fighting on, your overnight temperatures, sealer curing, asphalt being too cold so it doesn't bind and bond together when you're putting it down, so it unravels come springtime or things like that. But doing it before the winter time, it's something that does just help protect your pavement over the winter months. A lot of times, it's not there's less traffic, there's not as much heat and rain, things like that help it stay massaged, right? Because if you look at it, a lot of parking lots that don't get used a lot end up cracking and breaking more. And it's because they just start baking in the sun, so they lose their oils, they lose all the the products that hold everything together and keep it smooth. So if you're not protecting that stuff over the winter, when maybe it's going to have a little less traffic, the sun's not helping keep things meshed together, so to speak. You're just at risk a little bit more for that pavement deterioration. So, and plus, There's some parking lots that as you start getting into the winter months that they're a little bit less busy for various reasons, whether it's parks, marinas, outdoor activity related places that have less traffic. So if there's work that can be done over the winter, then that is a better time to do it because you're not interfering with with business operations. This place we're at years ago, back in like 2017 or 18 or something, we striped it here. We came down, we did some different phases, but we came down for some loading docks, and I was sick as crap. Like, it was an after hours job. My old neighbor was helping me at the time. He drove with his truck down here hooked up to the trailer so I could sleep on the way down here. We got down here, got out of the truck, I threw up. Then I go get all the machines set up and get everything ready to go, and I go start painting a couple lines, and then I hop off and I go into the bushes and throw up again. And like this whole process just repeats for the next like 2 hours. Like, it's a small job that we were doing, and he was doing everything he could to help too, but there was just some stuff that I was just having to do at the time. And I remember I slept the whole way home. Like I said, we were neighbors, and it's when I was running it out of the house, and he parked that thing in front of our houses, and I got out and I just went inside, went to sleep. We didn't put anything away. I said we were dealing with this tomorrow. But at the end of the day, I told the client we'd get it done, and we freaking did.
We are assessing everything for some pavement work. Surprise, surprise. But no, basically they got some sections that need to get repaved. So we're going to be looking at some of those, and then some sections we're going to save before we pave, right? We're going to seal it, stripe it, crack seal it, all that good stuff. So on here we've got our map made. I don't know if you guys can see it, but nonetheless it shows everything, so that way it gets it all ironed out, so that way the client knows exactly what we're quoting, area for paving, sealing, striping, things like that. But what we're doing right now is just going out, taking pictures of each area. We attach it to this map, and then when we present the proposal, there's a PDF attached to the proposal that has all of the photos, descriptions, everything like that. So that way when they're looking at the proposal, they got a map right next to them, and they can make it all make sense. So like you guys know, we try to be as transparent, clear, concise, consistent, the 3 C's of communication as much as possible.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to improving year over year for what we try to bring value, bring to the table for our clients, our biggest thing is just we want to make sure that the experience that the client has with us is always improving. So that's just constantly learning about what the clients want, what they need, what they expect, and making sure that we're not just delivering those expectations, but try to go above those expectations. One of the biggest things we hear about in the construction contracting world is lack of communication from contractors. So we're always looking at how can we communicate more efficiently and effectively with our clients to make sure that we are meeting and exceeding all of their needs and their requests. So it's all about that client experience. We just want to make sure we're giving them the best feeling when they're working with us and after they're done working with us for that project. We want to be the people who are front of mind, right? So we're continuing to put ourselves out there to be transparent, to be vulnerable about us as a company, who we are, what we do, how we do things, because more and more people are wanting more and more transparency. Because in today's day and age, like, if you don't exist online, if you don't exist on social media, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, people question your authenticity. Are you, like, what are you hiding, more or less? There's other people who don't give a crap about that, and that's fine. But we want to make sure that as things are continuing to go, as there's more smoke and mirrors being put out there from different companies, that we can prove that what you see is what you get, and we've had that actually happen. People who've come and visit us at the office, and they say, I kind of wondered what it was actually like because I've seen your stuff on social media, and then I came here and met your people, saw your equipment, your shop, your warehouse, your office, and it's all exactly what we see online. And I just want to make sure that we're known as a company that that's what we do, is we make sure that what people see is what they get. So that way there is no smoke and mirrors, there is nothing to be questioning our authenticity. That's something I've built the company on from day one, and that's just, being extremely authentic and transparent in every interaction we have. So one of the things that I would want people to know if they were coming on board with our company right now, as we're growing, as we're making moves and doing things, is that we aren't some big corporate company where the CEO is sitting in some corner suite on the 27th floor and never actually has interactions with people day to day. That we are still what a lot of people and a lot of businesses would consider a small organization, where myself as the owner and CEO, Kelsey, my wife, is the vice president and owner of the company. Like, we're in the business every day, so we're having interactions with folks day in and day out. And it's because we want to make sure that as we're building this, that we have the input and the feedback from the people who are responsible for doing the things every single day. Because if we don't get that, then we can't make sure that we're laying the framework and the groundwork for them to succeed at what they're trying to do. And with that, a lot of people, there's people who don't like it. They want to go to work and just be left alone and do their things. But at our company, we have high standards, and we don't hold people to standards that we don't hold ourselves accountable to. But it is something that some people have chosen not to work here in the past because they don't like the fact that we are intricately involved in a day-to-day business. And there's a difference between micromanaging and managing. We have people in place in different departments and different positions that are responsible for managing and leading other individuals, and we make sure that the standards the company set are held on a daily basis. And if they're not held, we figure out why and figure out how to improve it. So that's something that I wish that we would do a better job at communicating to folks who join our company, because sometimes it can come as a shocker to them that we actually are driven, involved, and passionate people for what we do and why we do it. What we knocked out today, 2 separate properties. I had to go assess them both for some asphalt repairs, one for sealing, striping, some paving stuff, all sorts of different things, anything parking lot related. So when we go out there, we try to meet with the clients whenever we can, like whenever the schedule works, they're available, so on and so forth. Sometimes it doesn't, but today we were fortunate and got to meet with clients at both locations. And really just spend some time talking with them, figuring out what the biggest concerns are, and then kind of, preliminarily going over some of the ways that we would propose to solve those problems. So, had the 2 projects. Like I said, one was some asphalt repairs back by a truck yard. The other one was paving some of the main drive areas and then sealing and striping the parking areas. But it's just it's what we do every day. And we're this is the 5th or 6th one for the week, and it's Tuesday right now when we're doing this. So we crank them out. For numbers' sakes, we've put out so far this year, we've put out over, I think, 600 estimates now. And a lot of those require boots on the ground. Like, we put boots on the ground to go actually see what the problems are, and really put together a comprehensive scope and assessment based off of what we find and what we talk to the client about, what their biggest issue is. So it's a good time. I like having Randy come along. He gets to learn some new stuff, because sometimes he gets stuck behind the camera. So having him come out here and learn a little bit, talk with some clients, maybe recruited some people, who knows? You never know what's going to happen out on a site visit.
That's a truck talk.
That's a truck talk.